I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night. Thanks for watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins. Welcome to the Mike Martins channel. Now, welcome. It's morning coffee. I got my coffee here. Tim Hortons. I don't know if you got your coffee, but I got mine. So let's go over some of the, you'll never believe what's in the media. I mean, it's almost like it's satire, but then when you read a little further, people are actually taking some of this stuff serious, or they're blowing it out of proportion, or they're going to its end to make you want to be part of something, or well, let's just take a look. I'll just stop talking here. All right, let's go into deep article scan. Guys, set your reminders for the upcoming shows. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and be part of the channel. Also, guys, if you want to send show tips, go ahead and send it to my Instagram, Mike Martins Official. Send me show tips on Instagram. All right, what's going on in California? California Department of Public Health? What are they warning? They're actually talking non-essential travel, quarantine post-travel, and California sent this out a few days ago, and all Californians travel advisory, leaving within, I think it's 100 some odd miles away from your home. It's lock you down. Lock it down. Trudeau's COVID wage subsidy funds Bank of China, PetroChina, and China Petroleum. So this is not new news. People are saying, Mike, how come you're not talking about the Chinese infiltration in Canada or the Chinese takeover? We've been talking about the Chinese takeover of Canada for 5, 6, 7 years now. Even on trends in the housing market, we've been talking about it. Canada is an autonomous region. So is Australia and New Zealand. They're autonomous regions of China. They own a majority of our debt, wealth, and everything, basically real estate and strip malls and properties and everything. China owns everything. Not everything, but China owns a good bulk of these countries. So people need to understand, when you open up your borders to money laundering, you're going to get a lot of that stuff. You're going to get legal stuff, and you're going to get a lot of illegal money, right? So if you look at the billions of dollars, so COVID wage, so this is big. So it's covered by CTV News. Other gems include following from Canada, CTV News. It's the world's most pressing scientific puzzle, but experts warn there may never be a conclusive answer and the sources of COVID. So it all borders on COVID and what's happening, but let's go back here. Canada, check this in. Type this in on your search browsers. Canada will be in a recession if it wasn't for money laundering. There it is right there. And where's the money coming from? Obviously, it's coming from China. People from Italy aren't going to sell their property and launder it in Canada. Believe me, people living in Portugal, people living even in South Africa wouldn't want to launder. Why would they? Why? So here it is. Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. And so far, they've only caught several, 200 billion in 4 years. And the Liberal government needs to shut this investigation down real quick in a heartbeat. Because they couldn't keep this going. Because if they then they're going to start arresting government officials and stuff, so they have to shut that down real quick in a heartbeat. Okay, fresh virus alerts for club in Sydney's west and shops in cities and northern beaches. Fresh virus alerts have been issued for Sydney, including multiple shops on the northern beaches of Sports Club and the city's west. People who dined. So now what's happening? The reason why I brought this article up is, one, because this girl's pretty, but two, I'll tell you what's going on, is that they're sending alerts to people's phones telling them, if you've been in this location, you must quarantine. If you've been in this location. So people are getting these alerts hourly saying, this location is unlocked, this location is this location is affected by this. So it's crazy. And your phone knows where you are. So it says, you were there. No, I wasn't. Yes, you were. Your phone stated you were there. We triangulated it there. So there it is. Fresh alerts. And this is breaking. Look at this little antenna going nuts. Breaking. Couple warns of scam after learning their house was advertised for rent. Yes, woman arrived with belongings expected to move in. The reason why I'm reading this is because this happened to me when I was moving to Vancouver from Miami. I found an apartment, got everything set up, paid the first and last month's rent, got everything set up, good to go. And when I arrived there, place wasn't, here it is here. Yeah, bath home for rent, there it is. And when I arrived, the people were living in it and they spoke Chinese and I couldn't get anywhere. I called the police. Police told me it wasn't their problem. So there it is right there. So you got to watch out for these things. Like I said, guys, the economy is gumshoed by ripping people off. The economy is being driven by ripoffs and con artists and scammers. A majority of Canadians in recent polls support stricter COVID-19 lockdowns, hefty fines for rule breakers. Did they ask me? No. If you're in Canada and you're watching this, let me just open this up a little bit more so you could see it a little bit more. There it is there, so you don't have to see my fat head here. Here it is. So if you're in Canada, could someone please get back to me? Because I wasn't given this poll. I think they asked 3 people in a hospital, or I don't know who they asked. Majority of Canadians in recent poll support stricter COVID-19 lockdowns, hefty fines for rule breakers. So I don't know. The results came as governments in Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec have imposed stringent lockdowns as a way to curb rising COVID cases. And they're looking at $10,000 fines for rule breakers, right? And now they're going to actually put it on a lien, or they're going to lien it to a property. So if you own property or a vehicle, they'll tie the $10,000 fine to your vehicle or your home or your residence. So you have to. So I'm not. What's a rule breaker? Like, what is COVID? I mean, have we figured out that it's even? Yeah. So there it is. $10,000 for rule breakers. I don't understand why they're pushing this so hard. We get it. We talked about it on Mike in the Night, but still, I mean, someone's got to call a spade soon enough. Unfortunately, I'm a small fry. Being a small fry, I mean, only so many people listen to you, right? Small business owners start 2021 amid uncertainty. A lot of us are on the cusp of closing. So this is in Chicago here, Chicago Tribune. And owner Joseph Gall shuttered his doors in the Sarge restaurant in Valparaiso in mid-April, having lost more than 95% of revenue and fine dining eatery normally generated once the COVID virus hit. So you must be wearing a mask to enter. So there's signage everywhere, and people are, he says he tried to open, but it wasn't working at all. All things came to an end. He said, which he operated, Sage is the restaurant which he operated for 12 years between Charleston and Valparaiso. So there it is right there. There it is. It's a nice looking place too, eh? The Liberium Cafe, coffee, games, and community. So it's probably like a board game cafe type thing. And Transport Canada warns Canadians of significant delays returning from Jamaica. So if you're coming in from Jamaica, there is transport delays coming in from Montego Bay, Kingston area. Editorial, don't stop questioning things. What do they mean? Are they allowed to? Are we allowed to? The pandemic story seems to change day by day, sometimes even by the hour. Politicians commit to something one day and then flip to the next. They promise restrictions that will be in place for just 2 weeks. Then they extended or worse, increased them. Canadians should have serious doubts as to whether or not some of the more bizarre restrictions even accomplish anything to stop the spread of COVID. So this is from the Winnipeg Sun. They're not doubting COVID exists in Winnipeg Sun. They're doubting the extent they are pushing these lockdowns or these barbaric. And this is from the Telegraph. NHS shaming doctors for taking taking work in the private sector. So doctors are leaving to work in the private sectors, and they're shaming doctors that they prefer to work for an actual private sector, which is good because it's not public, and you pay your taxes. It actually funds the public sector to be able to hire more doctors. So shaming doctors for taking work in the private sector. That's going to happen a lot. Sydney hospital closes after a mysterious virus infection. An infection came along the roof, made its way in through the top skylight, and it slipped in to one of the rooms where somebody was reading or looking at their phone. This mysterious virus made its way through. Yeah. So New South Wales, another mystery COVID infection after a man in his 40s was confirmed with the virus after seeking treatment at the hospital. Emergency department said on Saturday night. So we had someone on Mike in the Night on Saturday that was at a hospital in Sydney and said there was nobody there, and there was nobody in there was just nobody there. So for you to catch it in a place where there's nobody, like, and the parking lot was empty and the street was dead. So he went to go back to do his third check because he got checked for work because of somebody had the virus at his workplace. So he had to go back into quarantine. Nanobots will live in our brains in the 2030s, says Google boss. So this is an article from way back from 2017. I kind of wanted to throw this up there because now we're starting to see these bizarre things. Like, if you don't get the nanobot, injection to go into your brain, then you're a racist. They're going to find whatever they can. German U.S. legal team about to launch COVID lawsuits and expose Gates Rockefeller pandemic. So we're going to keep our finger on the pulse here to find out what is happening and people asking the right questions, because there's just too much going on. There's too many unanswered questions, and we're not getting the questions answered. Ontario considering implementing curfew similar to Quebec's. So Quebec has 8 p.m. shutdown, and now they want to implement that in Ontario. Look at the highways completely shut down. You can't even, and by the way, more people died of cancer. I wish this many people recovered from cancer in the numbers of, if you're looking at the numbers of the confirmed versus the deaths. Imagine 545,000 people of 665,000 actually were cured of cancer. Imagine how good that would be. And only 17,000 people died, because usually your odds when you get, especially during COVID, when getting cancer, oh, we can't do treatment, oh, we're going to turn you away, it's pretty bad. And now, like if there was only that many deaths, you wouldn't even hear of cancer-related deaths as much. But look at that. Wow. I wish we had this for some of the major illnesses. Some of the major illnesses that we have nowadays. I wish the death rate was actually like this, because this would be, but for COVID, I don't know, for them to shut down the economy for this, I don't know. 24 dead and 137 infected, and New York nursing home after experimental COVID injections. So they were trying out different injections on people. 24 dead and 137 infected in a New York nursing home. So what's to stop a mass mutation of something that actually will turn around and kill us all? Like, logistically speaking, realistically speaking, wholeheartedly speaking. They're playing around with this crap. What if they actually unleash a beast? Like, really unleash a beast? COVID cluster. Interactive map reveals COVID hotspots across England, with East London seeing the highest infection rates. So there it is, East London over here, and there it is there. All this mass infection. Stay home and save lives. I don't know. So here, this is one I wanted to bring up. So this is coming out of the province of Ontario, where the Ontario Premier of the province of Ontario, Doug Ford, tells Ontario he's scared, then refuses to say what's scaring him. Ford announced a new preventative measure and told Ontarians he'd get back to them next week after the scary modeling numbers came out on Tuesday. So he's scared to say something. Those are a lot of famous last words of famous people. I'm scared. And then that was the last you heard of him. Or a lot of famous last words from people are, "You're bad luck." Or like stuff like that is the last. But this one, he's scared. What's he scared of? So that's the Ontario minister, basically. Canadian soldiers no longer training Chinese troops, defense minister says. So, okay, they were training Chinese troops. Were they training Chinese troops? Why were the Chinese troops being trained in Canada? Well, again, it's for an American takeover, and that's probably what it was for. Exclusive senior doctor calling for ending. Where's this coming from? This is from the Western Standard. Basically, senior doctor calling for ending the lockdown says he's backed by other physicians, but they're afraid to speak. Well, the courts in Portugal deemed lockdowns as unlawful, especially when you do the when you go into the deep scanning or the deep testing, everyone comes up positive for some sort of something in their system. So you got to watch out for that. And so there it is. Senior doctor calling for ending the lockdown. And in Portugal, the courts deemed it as unlawful and illegal and against people's freedoms. Exclusive, extraordinary moment. 20 fraud victims band together to ambush glamorous Chinese fraudster. So this lady here was going around asking people for money, or if they could give them money from their bank accounts, I guess to other Chinese people living in Australia or visiting Australia. And she took over $200,000, and she would take screenshots of her transferring the money before to show that the money's being transferred, but she wasn't really doing it. That's really crazy how people have succumbed to basically ripping other people off. And, you work hard for your money. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I wanted to put that together. I kind of want to throw this one out here again. Experimental COVID injections. Now, I kind of want to talk about this a little bit, because What's to stop some sort of a mutation or a mass reversation of something, dark side starts to kick in and people start, you get where I'm going here, right, guys? Where you start playing God and injecting people. What if one person mutates or reinvents it or you know what I'm saying, right? Collaborates the virus and mutates it into something that ultimately is unstoppable. And then they're going to say, oh, we got to do more lockdowns. And people were going to be like, not anymore. And people were, and then you have a real pandemic on your hands, and then people would just not lock down and shut down. What if that happens? That's the question we need to ask. What if we start playing around with something and something does happen? And then when we need to shut down because of a real emergency, no one's going to buy it anymore. They're not being fooled. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Look forward to reading your comments. Morning Coffee with Mike. Hope you guys are having a good Monday morning. God bless, and we'll talk soon. And guys, don't forget to set your reminders for Mike in the Night. If you can, there's Mike in the Night, last week's Mike in the Night.
Right. So that kind of thing happens. It's like, yeah, they're just going to go ahead and roll this stuff out. Whether it actually is a good thing or whether people want it, they don't ask. They just roll.
Link right here at the end of the channel for last Saturday's show. Thanks for watching.